it's nice to not feel alone. I mean, that's just the truth of it. This can sometimes feel like a lonely process because you put yourself out there to the world. People have their opinions. To have someone to bounce that off of consistently is special. And I never took that for granted to have her.
Yeah, I think that we've just learned so much about each other and have grown so much. So I just really appreciate, all of the conversations that we've had and all of the support that Joey has given me. And he has been so understanding through all of my emotions. So yeah, I just really appreciate having him by my side. I'm Kelsey.
Nice to meet you, Kelsey. I'll give you a hug even though you're hiding something behind your back there.
She's so beautiful. When she walked out of the limo, I was like, okay, I'm screwed right from the get-go. That was the easy quality right off the get-go, but there's so much more to it, but I mean, that's obvious.
I was actually very calm in the limo rolling up, and all the girls were really surprised by that. They were like, why isn't she more nervous? Everybody was nervous. I was not nervous. I was very calm. I walked out of the limo and I saw him, and then I was like, oh gosh, now I'm nervous. He was so handsome. It just took me back, but I thought he was very kind and he did everything really great.
Yeah, night one was an interesting one for us. She obviously came out with the voodoo doll, so that was interesting because I remember as soon as she got out, she was beautiful as soon as she got out of the limo, but she had like something behind her back. So I was very curious to see what it was. But yeah, I remember night one, she was a little bit more reserved, definitely a little nervous, especially in our conversation we had later in the night. And I thought that was like a beautiful start though, because it was a beginning to like get to know her and how she is a person and her personality, because yeah, it takes a little time to crack her sometimes. So I was happy that she did it her way and wasn't like, too much in the beginning. I think it was perfect start for us, really, truthfully.
There goes Kelsey!
She's got the heart. She's running.
She's going. She's
Blue
running.
team brings it home.
I think our first conversation, I was really nervous, so it was hard for me to, kind of open up and really, get to know him more. But I know that on our first group date, we did a little workout together, and I was just like, he's really cute, he's funny, he was cracking jokes with me, and I was like, okay, this is easy. And I kind of like slowly eased into it, and the more and more I got to know him, it got easier and easier.
That paint battle date, which was the first group date she was on, was like when the comfortability started. I think that was when we first kind of got to understand each other a little more and be able to kind of sink into it. But then the Mrs. Right, where she got her group date rose, was I think where the connection really started. I think that was when we kind of realized, okay, there's something here that we're gonna see through, and it just honestly got better every time after that.
I think that my first group date rose night was a great conversation for both of us. I think that Joey was so kind and intentful with that conversation, and brought like a little Polaroid camera. We took a picture together, and he referred it to one of my answers at the pageant, which was the group date that night, where I said that I wanted to make new memories together. And so he was like, let's capture these new memories. We took a Polaroid picture. We just talked a lot that night, and it was just really, I think that is one of the nights that I really started falling like fully for him.
Kelsey, would you accept this rose?
Of course. I think it's hard, on my side of things through this process, wondering, what his relationship is like with other women, but I just would journal it out and just try and, just be one-on-one in our time and really concentrate on that and not about the other relationships.
Yeah, I think it wasn't definitely something that was hidden this season, how much I questioned if someone was going to choose me. It's part of it, you give a lot and you kind of hope someone will give it back in return. And for our relationship in general, like, there was a break. She expressed her emotions in Montreal. She let me know where she was at and expressed that she was falling, but it took some time for her to get to the full point of saying that she was in love until we got to Tulum.
What?
You did it.
No, I didn't, because you just said it. You just said
I did it because I knew you were gonna.
I would definitely say most of my doubts were during that time, but then after that moment we had in Tulum, to see everything that came from that, a lot of those went out the door.
Is this your first time to Louisiana?
This is the second time I've been here, but it was special today because we got to kind of do it in our own way. I think that I fully got there probably after meeting the family. I think that was the last big thing that I needed. I tried as much as I could to stay open through this process, but I think people will see that Daisy saw that too, that, after I met the family, like, she got a chance to meet my family after we had that time. There was really nothing else to test. We went through the whole band of it, that it was time to really get to that point that she was it and she will forever be it.
card was put in my door from Kelsey that says we need to talk.
My thoughts on the note have always been the same. It was a really tough day, but what was most important was, I talked about a lot throughout the show, the idea of someone leaving where you couldn't fathom it. That moment where the person that you saw being your forever person left. And that was that day. That was honestly the ability for me to sit there and realize that the person that I could see it forever with was possibly going to leave. And honestly, if it was something bad, I don't know if I could have moved on after that, because I did know where Kelsey and I were at, and I don't think I could have handled her not being there anymore. So those emotions were all the idea of that spinning through my head. I get like that sometimes. I'm glad it was just a, hey, can't wait to meet your family. New words next time would be great, but that was that's all it needed to be. But it was a realization of how much I really did care for her.
I mean, I obviously saw how shaken he was from that conversation, and it really made me feel terrible. I wish that I would have used different words, and I was, shaken up going into that rose ceremony. But I just tried to focus on how great Fantasy Suites was for us, and not think about the note.
There was obviously off-camera conversations where we did talk about families, and from that conversation, she had the whole idea of like, you can't promise anything. Like, this is something that I need to take some time to, like, I don't want you to say, because I did say at that moment, I can't wait for you to meet my family behind closed doors. And her mind went, you can't promise anything to me. Like, I can't hear that because I have to take this a step at a time, which was the right process for her and the right mindset. But then she took that as, did I just tell him I don't want to meet his family? So the note idea was for her to be able to come and talk to me about, I do want to meet your family. I don't have doubts in that. I just want to still take this a step at a time and just want to let you know how much you mean to me and how much I missed you. There was zero doubt she was getting a rose. We had such a great day. We had such a great night. There was so much more to that week besides that note. In my mind, that was just kind of a blip on this whole experience that, again, I look at it more as an ability for me to realize how much I couldn't see a life without her. That's what I hold on to it as.
Today I woke up and I truthfully felt the weight of all of this. This is the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
I mean, I was worried that, maybe it wasn't going to be me, and maybe he wouldn't propose to me because, maybe it was going to be Daisy, but I never thought that Joey would propose to me if it wasn't 1000% me.
I was feeling a lot of emotions. I think I'll be honest, I had like flashbacks to being on the other side. There's a lot that goes through because that day is it's a full day. It's not just the idea of getting engaged. It's also the idea of ending a relationship with someone else. So I was definitely thrown with a lot of emotions, trying to hold them all in and get to what was most important, which was what I was looking forward to, which was getting down on one knee and getting engaged to Kelsey. I didn't know a lot about rings early on, but this is something that we did talk about. I did know that she liked more of an emerald cut. She's explained that because she thinks that she has longer fingers, which I think are beautiful, she likes the more elongated cut because she thinks it looks more feminine on her hand and it fits her hand better, which I think she could wear anything on her hand, it would look beautiful, but that is the idea of why she likes that, and it looks perfect on her. So
I knew that Joey wouldn't get down on one knee unless it was me, but also I was like, I'm also gonna know by this ring. I saw the ring, I was like, yeah, it was always gonna be me. But I loved it. I think it's stunning, and I never want to take it off again. So immediately after, I told my dad and my sister Taylor, and my dad just could sense it. He was like, I knew that this was gonna happen, and he was so excited and so supportive. So yeah, I was so glad that I got to share that with my dad, and Joey was there. We FaceTimed real quick, but it was really special. Yeah, and I only told like my sister, my dad, and my roommates. That's it.
Yeah, we get that moment right after to be able to call like family members. She called her dad. I called my older sister, and I talked to her, and she got the chance to say hi too. So pretty much close family. My older sister, my younger sister, my mom, my dad, my uncle, and then same thing. I told a few like closer friends, just because it's nice to have some people that know, but our job is to keep this as locked up as possible. So we kept it behind closed doors. This time is not been the easiest, because who would want to be apart from someone when they
right
get engaged?
After you get engaged. Well, there's FaceTime, texting. It is hard. We have like aliases on our phones for each other. But Yeah, I think that we just try and communicate as often as we can. And the show was really great in giving us couples counseling afterwards as well, just to navigate this in-between period.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy because we both do appreciate the physical touch, to be able to be next to each other. We communicate so much better when we're actually with each other in the same room. So the idea of doing it virtually is not easy. But the couples counseling is what I will definitely attest to. It's made a huge difference for us to not only be able to find better ways to communicate, but also learn how each of us communicate differently, because it's heightened more when you're doing it virtually.
We have a list in our notes. We have a shared note, and we both add to it of little things. There's like dance classes, pottery classes, grocery shopping. Like,
Yeah,
I think we're
simple
excited
things.
just to do
Don't forget about bowling. I love bowling.
Yeah, little things together, and the big things. Like, I'm excited to do new things with him, like pottery classes and dance classes. So
Yeah.
I'm just excited to do life together and just be able to, if we want to run to the store together, we're allowed to do so.
Yeah, it's little things and bigger things. We have big trips coming up, the ability to travel, see the world, enjoy things together, but then also just be a normal couple, because we haven't got a chance to do that just quite yet. So a lot to look forward to.
I think we both want a long engagement, like 2-3 years. I honestly don't really know what I want my wedding to necessarily look like. I definitely want, all my close friends and family there. I think I want a very timeless wedding, but where? Not sure. I guess we're gonna have to figure that out.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of moving parts to it, because we obviously are trying to figure out where we're gonna be and what's gonna be next. We obviously both are really family oriented, so we need to have them be a part of it, and have great friends that we're gonna want to be a part of that day too. But we both have been on the same timeline from the beginning, that we are so grateful for this engagement. We want to promise our lives together, but we don't want to rush it. It's time now to enjoy this, embrace it, make the most of it, and we have the rest of our lives to celebrate it. So I think, yeah, we're on the same idea of 2 to 3 years, but we're going to take it day by day and just enjoy this time.
I've always just had this feeling that I need to live in New York City, and Joey is supporting me in that. Even if we hate it, at least we can say we did it.
No, I think it's going to be fun. The cool part about this is, obviously, with everything going on with the show, I've spent time in LA and New York. I think anyone that knows me personally knows that, like, beach, warm weather, all of that has been my vibe. I lived in Hawaii, but I've really come to love New York from the time I spent there. It does have a different feel. I've never lived in a big city. My family lives in Philly area, and I have close friends, so the idea of being close to them finally is going to be great. But yeah, the short term is to go to New Orleans, because she's got a place there, and we're going to kind of get everything together. But by the early to end of summer, we want to live in New York City and spend a year or two there, and really just kind of take it in and enjoy this time together, because I think it's the perfect place to do that.
I just think that Joey is very intentful with his words and his actions, and he, like I said, he really grounds me. So I think that, I don't know, just through this whole experience, I just saw so many qualities in him that, just really struck me as he's going to be an amazing husband, he's going to be an amazing father. And yeah, a lot of those qualities were like what my dad showed, and yeah, I just saw them in Joey as well, which my mom always told me, like, you need to find somebody that has the same qualities as your dad. And I do feel like I found that.
That was a good answer. I've had my same answer the whole time. Kelsey's brought so much to this relationship, but what she brings in the most, I think, is a different side. She's fun, she's goofy, she keeps things light. I have a tendency sometimes to take things too serious, to be a little too chill, to overthink things, to just kind of, not be able to just sometimes let it be what it's gonna be. And she does that with ease. She just has this fun energy about her. No matter whoever she meets in the room, she makes them feel seen and special, and just has this bright light about her. So for that, just to have every day be that day, I've always said I can't imagine how I wouldn't enjoy life when I have her by my side. So that's what's gonna make her a great spouse every single day. I know that.